Hello and welcome to Network News. Today we're taking a look at the recent announcement from LNER providing details about the interior design for their future Class 897 units, which are set to enter service in the coming years. LNER is the primary operator of services up and down the East Coast Mainline, providing the main rail link between London and places such as Leeds, York, Newcastle and Edinburgh, serving more than 24 million passengers each year. Currently, they operate two main fleets of trains, the Class 800 and 801 Azumas, which have been in service since 2019, and the older Class 91s, also known as Intercity 225s, which have been in service since 1989. It's these trains which are set to be replaced, with LNER confirming in 2023 that it had placed an order with CAF for the construction of 10 new trains, with each of the new units being 10 carriages in length and featuring tri-mode capabilities, meaning that they can run on electric power using overhead lines where available, or for unelectrified sections, they can use diesel or battery power. This enables them to run anywhere on LNER's network and also increases operational flexibility, with the batteries also providing a greener mode of propulsion for unelectrified sections of track. In regular operation, it's planned that whilst running on unelectrified lines, the batteries will be used whilst approaching and departing stations, whilst diesel propulsion will only be used in between stations, thereby reducing pollution within urban environments. The trains are based on the CAF Civity platform and will follow roughly the same design as the Class 397s already in service with TransPennine Express, though of course there will be some differences, such as the fact that the 897s will be tri-mode whilst the 397s are electric only, as well as the trains being different lengths, with the 397s being 5 cars and the 897s being 10. This is all stuff we've known for a while now, but the latest announcement now provides more information about the interior design of the units, as well as confirmation of a fleet name for the new trains. Much like how LNER's existing fleet of 800s and 801s has been branded as Azuma, these new trains are set to be branded as Serenza, a name which is based on a hybrid of the words serene and the Spanish-style suffix of enza, with LNER saying the name is meant to evoke a feeling of peacefulness and calm, combined with energy, movement and modernity. Inside, the 10-carriage trains will have 569 seats across standard and first class, alongside wheelchair spaces and companion seating. The interior has been designed based off customer feedback and stakeholder engagement, with several improvements having been made compared to LNER's existing fleet of Azuma trains. A lot of the focus has been on the seating design, which has seen the seat design modified to offer better comfort in both standard and first class. New and enhanced seat pads have been developed, side bolsters and head cushions have been widened, and the seat cushions have also been reshaped to provide better support. As is already the case on LNER today, each seat will also have a 3-pin plug socket. However, this is now also being supplemented with USB-C ports for phone charging, and at table seats, these sockets and USB ports will now be positioned in a so-called power bar on the tabletop. There will be 5 water refill stations positioned throughout the train, and every carriage will include new digital displays to keep people up to date with live journey and safety information. It's also anticipated that the fleet will include softer interior lighting, including mood lighting and table lighting in first class to increase comfort, especially for early morning and late evening services. The cafe bar has also been improved, featuring new digital displays to show what's in stock that day in real time. The toilets have been designed to feature an improved wash basin design, baby changing tables, and clearer signage in accessible toilets, and the awful, and frankly quite ableist, vertical cycle storage spaces have been swapped out for a much better cycle storage area featuring straps to keep bikes secure. And speaking of accessibility, the trains also feature a few improvements in this area. Tables have been redesigned to create more space for wheelchair users, with seat legs also being moved to create more space for assistance dogs. Carriages with wheelchair spaces in them will also include more luggage racks than elsewhere on the train to reduce the risk of accessible spaces being incorrectly clogged up with luggage. Other changes include the addition of a grab rail along the full length of the cafe bar and braille seat numbers to assist the visually impaired in locating their seats. However, unfortunately, these trains won't include level boarding from train to platform, meaning that wheelchair users will still be dependent on external support, which is very disappointing to see in this day and age when better technology is out there. In spite of this though, the trains should still provide a much needed increase in capacity on the East Coast Mainline, building off the back of the December 2025 timetable change, which brought an extra 60,000 seats per week across the route. I've got a whole video about it if you're interested. Anyway, as part of that timetable change, the Intercity 225s had to be shortened from 9 carriages to 7 carriages in order to match the acceleration of the Azumas. As such, replacing them with these newer, longer trains will allow LNER to make better use of the paths allocated to them under this new timetable. Dr. Linda Wayne, Engineering Director at LNER, said, "This is an exciting milestone for LNER as we reveal an insight into what our customers can expect from their journeys in the future and unveil a name. Our new fleet will bring more comfortable, more reliable and greener journeys across the East Coast Mainline for decades to come, and we are looking forward to their introduction in the coming years." Now, I do have to caveat everything I've said in this video so far by saying that, whilst all this information about these trains has been released by LNER, by the time they're introduced, LNER won't actually exist anymore, as it will have been absorbed into Great British Railways. In fact, the Class 897s are currently expected to be the first new fleet of trains to be introduced under GBR. As such, there could be changes between now and then. This likely won't affect the core specification of the trains, but could mean that, for instance, the branding will be different, with the red seat maquette shown in these pictures swapped out for a new design, and that the exterior livery won't be that of LNER, but instead based on GBR's Union Jack inspired livery. These trains seem pretty good on the whole. It's good to see that lessons have been learned about the interior specification since the introduction of the Azuma fleet, and it's also good to see that the trains will be 10 carriages in length. I always found it odd that the Intercity Express programme specified 9 carriage trains for the East Coast Mainline, when most, if not all stations, are actually capable of accommodating 10-car trains, as can be seen when 2 5-cars are coupled together. It just seems like a pointless restriction to impose on yourself, especially with the knowledge that demand for travel on the East Coast Mainline is continuing to rise. Other than that, it's also good to see that these trains include little conveniences such as water refill points, an incredibly useful feature which, quite frankly, I'm staggered isn't included on more trains. The abolition of vertical cycle storage is also really good to see, however I do also have some concerns. The seats, for example, look better than the ones fitted to the Azumas, no doubt, but I'm not convinced that they'll be as comfortable as some of the seats fitted to other modern trains, such as the ones recently introduced with East Midlands Railway. I suppose it remains to be seen, but based on these initial pictures, I'm not convinced it's as good as it can be, and frankly, it seems like a missed opportunity for quite a significant step up in quality. Likewise, the lack of level boarding is really disappointing to see on a new build fleet. I understand that these trains were procured a few years ago, but nevertheless, the introduction of a new fleet of trains in this day and age without including provision for level access is extremely disappointing indeed. Despite that, I'm still optimistic about these trains overall, and think that they could make a real difference to passengers travelling up and down the East Coast Mainline with LNER, or by then, Great British Railways. What are your thoughts on the new Class 897s? Do you share my optimism, or is this a missed opportunity for something even better? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to Network News for more updates like this, and until next time, thanks for watching.